Hello, welcome to the dollhouse. I am the doll. Today I am going to be talking about two videos I saw. I saw these today, both about the same topic: submission, wives submitting to their husbands. I'm going to play the very first video and then share some thoughts.
You go to the car shop to buy a car. You and your husband, whose name will be in that car?
Of course, the car should be in my name. Why should it be in his name?
No. If you want to buy a car, you go to the car stand. It should be in his name. It is in his name, and he gives you back the car.
No.
To drive. Not for your. That's so many of us don't understand this thing called submission. Even a house, as a woman, in total submission to your husband, that house should not be in your name. Even if
it might one that work for some people, but it's not working for me.
Your paycheck as a woman, your husband should own your paycheck as a woman. If we are talking about true, why are you keeping your mouth like that? If you're talking about true submission, this daughter of mine is a disobedient one. David said, why should your husband have authority over your paycheck? That is what the Bible is telling us. Submission means giving everything without restriction. You have to lay down. Why are you nodding your head? Lay down.
I'm going to submit to my husband as his wife, right?
Yes.
Am I also going to submit my destiny to my husband?
Your destiny, when you're married, your destiny is not your destiny. Your destiny is your husband's. It's submitting you. It has to play into your husband's destiny. That is what the submission is. The Bible said in everything.
So women are still expected to submit to men. We're supposed to submit to men. And that's regardless of whether or not he's submitting to God or whether or not he's loving his wife the way that he loves the church. That whole Bible verse is rarely ever quoted, but I'm going to pull it up. It says, "Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to preserve her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself." So that's Ephesians 5:22 through 29. Women can't afford to think like this anymore. I understand what the Bible verse is saying, and it would be beautiful if husbands were submitting to God the way that they should, so that women could submit to them. And, it's unfortunate that no one talks about the love part. And that's why no one should take advice from that original woman. Now, I got that video from Maria Davids, who is African. And they are more vocal, perhaps, about, feminine submission to men in society. They, I believe, have a more traditional way of being in West African cultures. But here in America, history has shown us that men are degenerate. They want to party. They want to sleep with women without consequence. They want to drink and they want to do whatever they like because they are the leaders and they are entitled to do so. And the woman is still supposed to submit to to the husband, regardless of whether or not he is a good man, regardless of whether or not he's actually submitting to God. A woman is supposed to submit. And who's going to check him on whether or not he's submitting to God? Who? What entity? Because men are the head, so a woman, if she's in full submission, can't tell a man that he isn't aligned with God. It just won't work anymore. Women have money now. We don't need men for survival. And so those ideologies have been proven to do more damage to women than to provide them with the safety and feeling of protection that women are longing for. So here's another content creator, Tony Gaskins. He's been married for a long time, and he talks a lot about dating and relationships, and he talks specifically to women most of the time. Here's what he has to say about submission.
Because a woman was created for love. See, Adam was created to reign. He was created to have dominion. He was created to lead, lay down the law. That's what Adam was created for. Adam wasn't created for love. That's why throughout the Bible, you will see that women were not really reverenced, so to speak. A woman was in a place of, all throughout the Bible, a woman's place was submission, and she was in subjection, to the man, and the man was in submission, supposed to be in submission to God.
Okay, so there we go. We've got someone referencing that Bible verse in Ephesians where women are supposed to submit, totally neglecting the following Bible verses about how a man is supposed to love his wife. He says that Adam wasn't created for love. Women were created to love. The messaging is mixed, and that's why people are just like leaving religion behind and leaving this ideology behind, because it's very muddled. And if Adam wasn't created for love, then why does Apostle Paul write about it in Ephesians? And where does that leave women in marriage? What are men supposed to do? Just reign and lead and have dominion? Because that's what it sounds like he's saying. And I know that's probably not what he means, but it just shows me that the messaging is too mixed for people to have any idea about how to actually go about having relationships based on the Bible.
The man belonged to God. The woman belonged to her husband, to the man. And that's how the Bible set it up. That's why in Ephesians 5, it said, wives, submit unto your husbands as unto the Lord. That's a very, very strong comparison, because how do you submit unto the Lord? So if you are a God-fearing woman, really ask yourself, is you going to love your husband the way you love God? Like, are you going to submit to your husband the way you submit to God? But that's what the Bible says. But we argue with the Bible all day, every day, and we try to make it mean something else all day, every day.
So the man belongs to God, and the woman belongs to her man. I don't think women are going to keep buying into that. It's just not an attractive way to live, because it's hard to trust men, because most men have fallen into degeneracy and they're not capable leaders. They're not being led by God themselves. And again, Tony talks more about submission and how important it is, but then neglects to mention anything about what the husband is supposed to do, starting at Ephesians 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church. But as I say all the time, men are trading church in for football or sleep or going to the mall, doing anything except for go to church. It just isn't the case that men are submitting to God and that they can be trusted with a woman's livelihood. Like that coach in the very first clip, Miss Emmanuel, was saying, lay down for your husband. If you get a car, put his name on the title to the car and let him gift you the car, even if you're paying for it. It's his car. You know, your destiny becomes his destiny. Wouldn't that be wonderful to be able to just release and relinquish all responsibility for life and just go to the spa all day and trust that your man is carrying you to your destiny? Does that happen though? It hasn't happened. History has shown us that it's not happening. Now that women have money and equal protection under the law, and firearms also exist, women don't necessarily have a need for men. Like, not in the way that they used to. When they had to submit fully. When they had to endure being slapped in the mouth. When they had to endure doing laundry and birthing children and feeding children and also working in the field for no pay, and to also get, cheated on and beat up. It's just a different time. And history has shown us that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when men have ultimate power over women, society is woefully imbalanced. And it's time for us to wake up to a new reality that women have divinity within too. They say they're the leaders. But it's from what it seems, they've been leading us down into a hellhole. A godly man named Brother Love, also known as Puff Daddy, had his house raided earlier today. But as he proclaims, he's a man of God. Let's hear what he has to say while he's getting his Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards.
Oh, man. Oh, man. I love you, too. First of all, I want to thank God. God, thank you. Thank you so much. Never leaving my side, always being by my side, keeping me in my purpose, keeping me in my work, keeping me godly, lifting me up off the ground, always being by my side. Anything I do is through God. Anything I do is through love. That's what I evolved to be. And that's what I'm doing right now. You feel me? So I want to thank God, because if it wasn't for God, I would have went crazy, y'all. You feel me?
I wonder if the God he serves is the God that all men should follow, and that women should trust men to lead them under. Should women trust men like Diddy to lead them? He's never had a wife. And a lot of people have trusted them, and they have been led astray. Allegedly. I'm going to just say allegedly. But the smoke has been in the air since the early 2000s with Diddy. And they say where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't know. I feel like religion has to be revamped in order for balance to be restored, and so that men recognize their actual divinity and women understand their divinity, and both are revered. We both have sacred roles. Not one of them more important than the other. Because women are essential to the survival of the world, and men are as well, but maybe men feel so threatened and so worthless without the prevalence or the presence of a woman in their life. Maybe they feel like without women they are nothing, and that's why they have to hold women down in order to try and make sure that we know their importance. And they physically have had the ability to do that for thousands of years, physically and with the laws of the land. And now all of that power has been peeled back. And this is the day of reckoning, where we recognize that women's divinity is equal to male divinity. We have our differences. We have our separate strengths. We cannot do what the other does. And the old ways of religion that we've been used to for now thousands of years, it's time for them to be reevaluated. I don't know what has to happen next. I do not have the answers, but I do know that it's hard to put the toothpaste back into the tube. It's not going back into the tube. Once you squeeze that toothpaste out, it's not going back in. And things have changed. We have an opportunity now to launch forward in a more balanced way, where men are honoring their divinity and understanding that actions have consequences. And Diddy is an example of that. There are other examples popping up all throughout the news lately. Men's divinity is important, and feminine divinity is as well. And that's why we should not be giving our energy away so loosely. So, this video is really all about why religion and the idea of submission is not attractive to women anymore. And it's not something that a lot of women believe in anymore the way they used to. And I hope that this makes sense and that you share your ideas in the comment section. I'm going to start going live. I haven't really decided on a time. I might just start popping up doing lives when I feel like doing them. It could be 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It might be 1 a.m. Who knows? I haven't decided if I'm going to start showing my face or not, but I'm considering it. The main reason why I would be against it is because I don't want people in my business. And also I want people to pay attention to the concepts rather than me. So anyway, tell me what you think. Please like the video, because the more that we like the video, the more that you like the video, the more the message gets spread that this is the day of the decentering. This is the day of the recentering, not the decentering, because I don't want to make anything that I do about anyone else, except for me centering the divinity within. And I feel like that's what we should revamp this movement into being. We should revamp this movement into being, recentering ourselves rather than decentering men. Sorry, y'all, I had to turn on my little space heater for a second. I know you may have heard it, but just ignore the technical difficulties that pop up from time to time on this channel, because again, it's about the content and the concepts rather than the aesthetic and the polish. So I appreciate you for being here, and we'll talk soon.